Hey everyone, welcome back to Rides on Bikes, your ultimate destination for everything two-wheeled and thrilling. Today, we've got something special lined up, a complete, in-depth look at the 2025 Suzuki Gixxer SF 155. Whether you're a commuter, a weekend rider, or just someone who appreciates sharp design and efficient engineering, stick around because this machine might just be your next obsession. Let's dive right into the heart of this compact sports tour and see what Suzuki has cooked up for 2025. First impressions. This thing looks sharp. The 2025 Gixxer SF 155 carries over the aggressive design language we've come to expect from the Gixxer family, but this year, it's more refined, more aerodynamic, and in some ways, even more premium. From the full fairing to the sculpted fuel tank, everything screams mini sport bike without the intimidating price or power curve. Now before we dissect its design and performance in detail, let's talk briefly about what this bike represents. The Gixxer SF 155 sits in a category that demands versatility. It needs to look good in the parking lot, feel nimble in city traffic, perform well on highways, and yet not burn a hole in your pocket. It's meant to be a practical machine for the masses, but with the flair of a big bike experience. And that's exactly what Suzuki has tried to deliver here. Alright, starting off with the engine and performance. Under the fairing, the 2025 Gixxer SF 155 houses a 155cc, single-cylinder, air-cooled, stock engine with fuel injection. It's the same refined power plant that Suzuki has been evolving over the years, but this time, it's been tweaked for better throttle response and mid-range torque. Power output remains steady at around 13.4 bhp at 8,000 rpm and 13.8 Nm of torque at 6,000 rpm, which may not sound massive on paper, but in real-world riding, it's more than enough for zipping through urban traffic and comfortably cruising at highway speeds around 90 to 100 km per hour. Suzuki has done some smart tuning this time around. The fuel mapping feels slightly more refined than the previous generation. Throttle input is crisp, acceleration is linear, and there's noticeably less vibration at higher RPMs, especially between 7,000 and 9,000 rpm range where older models sometimes felt a little buzzy. Paired with a 5-speed gearbox, shifts are smooth and precise. The clutch is light and doesn't fatigue your fingers in city traffic. While a 6th gear would have been a nice addition for highway cruising, the 5-speed box does a solid job of balancing performance with efficiency. During our testing, the Gixxer SF 155 returned an average mileage of about 45 to 50 km/L, depending on riding conditions, which is pretty impressive for a faired bike in this segment. Now let's shift gears a pun intended and talk about the design. If you put this bike side by side with any 150-160cc bike in the Indian or Southeast Asian market right now, the Gixxer SF 155 arguably stands out as one of the most stylish options available. The 2025 model continues with the sleek, aerodynamic fairing that gives it a true mini GSXR look. This time, Suzuki has added more dramatic colorways and bold graphics. The dual-tone metallics and matte Triton blue variant with MotoGP-inspired decals are particularly eye-catching. The LED headlight design has been slightly reworked for better projection and a more aggressive stance. It's a vertically stacked unit now, compact but sharp, and it lights up the road fairly well for night rides. At the rear, you've got the sleek LED tail lamp that's integrated into the tail section quite cleanly. The digital LCD instrument cluster has been updated too. It's now brighter, with better contrast and readability, especially under direct sunlight. The display includes a speedometer, tachometer, gear position indicator, trip meter, fuel gauge, and a clock. Unfortunately, there's still no Bluetooth connectivity or navigation, a slight letdown in a world where competitors like TVS and Hero are pushing connectivity features even in 125cc bikes. Seat height is at a friendly 795mm, which makes it approachable for riders of all heights. The riding triangle strikes a nice balance here. It's slightly sporty, but not overly aggressive, meaning you can commute daily or go on longer weekend rides without fatigue. Moving on to the chassis and handling. This is where the Gixxer SF 155 really excels. It rides on a single down-tube frame with a box section swing arm, which has been carried over from the previous iteration. The front suspension is a telescopic fork, while the rear gets a 7-step adjustable monoshock, giving the bike good feedback and control. The setup is on the firmer side but absorbs potholes and speed bumps without transferring too much shock to the rider. The bike sits on 17-inch alloy wheels wrapped in grippy MRF Zappa tires, a 100 section at the front and 140 section at the rear. These provide excellent traction in both dry and wet conditions. Cornering on this bike feels surprisingly confident for a 155cc. The bike tips in nicely and holds its line well, making twisty roads feel genuinely fun. Braking duties are handled by disc brakes at both ends, supported by single-channel ABS. The front disc is a 266mm unit, and it delivers sharp and progressive braking. Rear brake feel is adequate but not overly aggressive. Would we have liked dual-channel ABS? Definitely. But at this price point, single-channel ABS is still acceptable and keeps costs in check. Speaking of price, the 2025 Suzuki Gixxer SF 155 is priced at around a superscript 11.47 lakh ex showroom in India. It's a reasonable figure for a fair 155cc bike with sporty credentials and everyday usability. It's also priced competitively against rivals like the Yamaha R15S and Bajaj Pulsar F250. One of the standout advantages of the Gixxer SF 155 is its build quality. Suzuki has consistently maintained better than average fit and finish in this segment, and the 2025 model continues that tradition. The switchgear feels tactile, the plastics don't rattle, and there's a general sense of solidity that's hard to find at this price point. Let's quickly touch on rider comfort and practicality. The SF 155 gets a split seat setup, with ample padding for the rider and a decently comfortable pillion perch. The handlebars are clip-ons, but they are raised just enough to give you a sporty but upright posture, perfect for daily riding and spirited weekend trips. The bike also gets a dual horn, an engine kill switch, and a side stand engine cut-off feature. These are small but thoughtful additions that improve everyday usability and safety. In terms of maintenance, Suzuki's network in India and other markets is expanding, and service costs remain low. The 155cc engine is known to be reliable, and owners typically report minimal issues over years of use. Spare parts are reasonably priced, and service intervals are spaced out well for a commuter-cum-sport bike. Now, let's talk about who this bike is really for. If you're a college student looking for your first premium bike, or a working professional who needs a stylish commuter that can double up as a weekend tourer, the Gixxer SF 155 is a perfect match. It doesn't pretend to be a track machine like the R15. Nor does it lean heavily on tech features like the Apache RTR 164 volts. Instead, it strikes a beautiful balance between form and function, style and substance. And here's the kicker: it does all of this while being extremely fuel efficient, reliable, and surprisingly comfortable. Add to that Suzuki's attention to detail in design and ergonomics, and you've got the bike that continues to impress year after year. Before we wrap up, let's run through a quick pros and cons list for the 2025 Gixxer SF 155. Sporty and aerodynamic design with MotoGP DNA. Refined 155cc engine with excellent rideability. Smooth gear shifts and light clutch. Good fuel efficiency, 45 50 km/L. Solid build quality and reliability. Comfortable riding posture for daily use. Updated, brighter digital display. Lacks Bluetooth or smart connectivity. Single-channel ABS only. No sixth gear. Slightly high price compared to older generation. Still, if your priority is a bike that combines style, everyday practicality, and solid performance without breaking the bank, the 2025 Suzuki Gixxer SF 155 is absolutely worth your attention. So, That's our full deep dive review. If you're considering this bike, we hope this breakdown helps you decide. Drop your questions in the comments, we always respond, and let us know if you want a full comparison video between the SF155 and other segment rivals like the R15S, Pulsar F250, or the Hero Stream 160R 4 volts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Rides on Bikes for more expert two-wheeler reviews, test rides, and tech breakdowns. Hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload. Until next time, ride safe, ride smart up, and keep it two wheels only.